Hello YouTubers, Troz here, back with some more Factorio Megabase. Last time we did the Death Train, and before that we had worked on the 1K Science production, which we didn't quite reach. Basically we were only reaching 1K because we had things backed up. Eventually we didn't have enough iron smelting, and our train network really wasn't quite up to the task. So I eventually want to get back to that, but not quite yet. I'm going to need to improve my smelting. One problem I had, let's look at one of the smelters over here, is the trains kept going to the closer station, but I kind of need them to go evenly, because only the front of the train was filling up with iron, the back wasn't getting much, leading to the train sitting here longer, leading to trains backing up, etc., etc. So I kind of actually have come up with a solution for the one part. I'll just grab a... You know what? I thought I actually had a chest over here. Oh well, it doesn't matter. So I've developed this little circuit here. It's basically two rail signals hooked up to a decider that is set up as a flip-flop. So these rail signals, they're hooked up to the circuit network so that this one outputs an R signal for right when it turns red, and it is forced red when left equals 0. And this one outputs a left signal when it's red, and it's red when left equals 1. And then this decider, if left is greater than right, then left is 1. And its output is hooked into its input. So right now it's on, this left one is green, so we'll take a car and we'll put it down here, and you notice it switched. So if we pick this back up, this one briefly flickers, but it stays red. If we then have the next train comes, and it will come in here, and then this one turns red and this one turns green. And if I pick it up, it stays that way. So this would help and force the trains to alternate stations. The only slight issue is, even though we have a stacker, because these are normal signals, the train leaving this stacker will sit here, kind of blocking this intersection. But that really shouldn't be an issue, because the one that's green, the train should be leaving next, because the last train to enter entered the other one, so the train unloading on the one that the train's waiting for should unload first. But that's not the only problem we had with that smelter. I mean, here's a small well, it's technically not the same smelter, but I based my bigger smelters off of this one, and we're using electric furnaces, but there's no modules at all, and there's no beacons. We could really improve, this. This, I'm not sure how many. It's something like 24 furnaces here, and we could really cut that down with speed modules. But with our productivity modules, we could actually get free iron. Basically, it basically would make every 5 iron ore count as 6, and so we get free materials. So we'd need less ore coming in, we'd fill our iron plate and copper plate and steel plate for all those smelters, we'd fill the trains faster. But that's going to take a new design of a smelter, and I don't want to get into that at the moment. So last time we did have a fun episode with our death train here, which I just remembered I need to fix because I had a small biter-related incident. Alright, now I know somewhere I had train parts around here. That's ammo. Really? Alright, I think I know where an artillery piece is. Yeah, so I want to do something different for at least a short while. Stay away from, well, not really stay away, but do something other than the 1K science, which I've been doing. So I've seen a few people do this before, but I've never done it. So I thought it would be interesting to make a train of all items. Yeah, something I've never done. It sounds like it could be fun. That's filling it pretty good. Basically what that consists of is building a train that has a car, a cargo wagon, for each item in the game. And actually I don't even just want to do each item, I want to do every liquid as well. I did a rough count, and there's just over 200 if I did not count incorrectly. So I'm going to need a lot of space for this train. But not only do I just want the train, I want to build a unique production for each item and attempt to produce those items at least one a second. So I don't want to use just my current production, because a lot of my current production is pretty bad. You know, I just have here for all these items. Yeah, we got a single assembling machine with a requester chest and a provider chest. And you know what? I want to do this. I don't want to say without bots. I'll say almost without bots. Basically, I want to belt in all the materials. I want to produce, whatever is needed to make the item. The only time I'll use bots is transporting that item to the train. But this is going to be a very large production. I don't want it hooked up to my current logistics. So, except for possibly building it at the beginning, where I'll get materials from my current logistics, I want to produce everything on site. So I'm going to need a lot of space. This is going to be like a totally new factory producing every single item in the game. So I'm in the process of clearing out this area. I'm using my attack bases, have the death train come, clear it out. In fact, I'm ready to do one more base here, and that should cover this little area here, and then some more here. And I think I'm gonna set up basically maybe fill in some of these lakes here, but set up a train stacker, set up some stations, and then have a main bus going this way. Now, while I did say I want to produce everything on site, I will make some slight exceptions. I will use these smelters as they currently are to get the raw plates, and I'll also use my big oil factory over here to get well, the the petroleum gas and stuff like that. But I'm gonna basically set up a few more stations over here, and we'll be training in the gas, but we'll be training in the plastic and the sulfuric acid. actually, we may not. Well, but yeah, and I'll use the production facilities for green circuits, red circuits, and blue circuits. But everything else, like I'll produce science, here, and well, maybe not. Science isn't good, but like I'll produce trains, and I'll produce lasers, and I'll produce, you know, basically everything here. All the arms, all the belts, everything on this tab, everything on this tab. Maybe except for these, everything on this tab. I'm not sure if I'll do science again or if I'll just import science, but I want to do all the production, everything here. I've actually even designed a few of these things. It's surprisingly hard to produce locomotives every 1 second. So we'll see how that goes. So this is probably going to be a shorter than a normal episode. Let's clear this out, and then I'll have a few questions for you, actually. And I'll put a poll in the cards to see how things go. But let's clear out this area. We want to go to temp 5. We'll call in the attack train. And we'll clear out, hopefully, the last area for this production facility. I'm pretty sure that should be big enough for what we'll need, but it may just, like, with a train stacker and all the stations for all the materials, and when I'm talking about bus, like, I'm bringing in my 2 8 trains that I unload from both sides. So I'm thinking we're gonna have like 16 lanes of iron and 16 lanes of copper and 16 lanes of steel. So yeah, we're talking big buses. I did somewhat fix the blueprints for this Death Train book, although it's not completely 100% fixed, although I can use the new template and the old one together to get a working base template. I'm not going to risk coming forward too far, especially with that guy walking around. I think he's a scout looking to set up a new nest. Alright, so we'll stick down 1, and we'll stick down 1A. 1A fixes a few missing arms here. Unfortunately, I forgot to tell it to save the proper station names, so the train does not come automatically if I use just 1A. Why are you still at supply? Because you got set to manual when I changed. Yeah, so the last time I took it somewhere, the walls didn't quite get built enough, and some biters got in and ate the one artillery wagon before we get all the lasers down. Now, why are you... This was the problem last time. It didn't... Well, last time. Between episodes, one of the times it also didn't go, and I forced it to go, and it turned out that it was missing some items. That looks correct. There's 11 items there. There should be 12 here. And that looks good for you. Which one is the 100, 100, 100? Oh, what happened to our light oil? Uh, I turned that around while adjusting the position of these tanks, and I apparently never put it back. So these are all, well, basically dry. Can't go out with our flamethrower fuel. I'm just wondering where that bot went with the pump there. Yeah, we have plenty over here. Alright, here you go. So this is filling up. This should now be going. Seeing that I'm only getting like 53, 54 frames per second at the moment, I'm thinking recording lowers that a bit, because I do get 60 most of the time, although like when we start shooting at the biters and they all start pathing, I will probably drop down to close to 30. Alright, that's full. We're filling up here. And then next time both of these should be full, so it'll fill up rather quick. Three, 24, and we're off. Okay, let's put down phase 2. The train will automatically build this. I want to actually stay out of the way so my bots don't build it. In fact, let's disable my bots. Let's put shields back in. And you know what? I don't need to run that fast. Did that just... Is that... I didn't notice, but that may be where that scout went. Well, we'll see. Oh, here you are. Let's see how this goes. Can we get set up before everything comes running in? Not completely. I'm just gonna... Alright, look at that. Walls in. Here comes defenses. And we just need ammo. There comes our logistics bots filling up the ammo. Oil's all offloaded. Got our flamethrowers going. Taking out the biter bases. very effectively. And we're actually even shooting back here where there were some. Got large groups incoming. And since the construction bots are all done, let's finalize this place and put down the concrete. Fire really takes out the groups. And then the lasers finish them off, and if any get too close, then we got our uranium ammo guns to quickly dispatch them. Now the train's artillery cannons will fire at anything within range. I actually think it's waiting for the train to generate, because like right now it's not firing, but oh, like now it is. I have 4 fixed artillery that are not given ammo until the train leaves here. I've got it hooked up to the circuit network so that these stack inserters here are not active until the train leaves. So once the train leaves, the train will leave once it hasn't fired for 30 seconds. Then these become active only when the train leaves, because I don't want it to use up all the ammo. Because while these artillery wagons can hold 100, a cargo wagon can only hold 40. So there's limited supply of ammo once the train leaves, so don't want these using them up, what little they have, while the train's still there. Ooh, that is a big group. Luckily, being against the lake here, the biters aren't really coming around by our electric poles and aren't eating them. I had that problem at another little base that biters would come in kind of through a forest and would run right into one of the electric poles, which they kept destroying, cutting the power to the lasers. Luckily, the flamethrower turrets and the gun turrets were enough to keep them at bay while I repaired the power problem. I think the train's going to pull out soon, because I haven't heard a cannon shot in a while. Here's another big group. The flame thrower turrets are actually quite efficient. You can see we've only gone through 10,000 I don't know, liters of liquid. However, that's, yep, there goes the train. I am out of the way. And you see these are now armed. Yeah, except for a small little area here, but I don't really think there's many biters in that area. I can actually check. Hoping these fire from my main area. Although, okay, so we have a few shots now from our place artillery. They are a bit closer than the train was, so here we got. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Oh, apparently we had a train over here as well. Yeah, so I think this is mostly cleared out. These are all from over here, just attacks of biters that were caught as artillery shells were flying over. It's most likely completely empty now. So, yeah, this will be a good area. I mean, there's lakes I'll have to fill in, but we got plenty of landfill. Let's So the one question I have is, do I fill the train of all materials as I go, as in like as I build a production for, let's say, red belts? Do I fill the train then with the production of the red belts, or do I leave the train sort of in a separate logistics network, and only when I finish do I turn on everything at once, and we see how long it takes? I'm kind of leaning towards the former, as the latter would kind of, if I build everything to run at, at least one item per second, if I turn on everything at once, well, everything's going to get choked for materials, and so very little, attack from the back, very little would actually run at one item per second. But, maybe we can do a bit of both. But I'll put up a question in the card, and look at that. They ate our electric poles. Let's put those bots back in. One should be fine for now. Yeah, so got the this is not nearly enough accumulators to run the lasers for long, but just by them all turning on and sparking, you can hear that, hey, there's something wrong with the power, and it will probably allow you to run the lasers for 10 seconds or something. I would wire up a siren or something, so that if these accumulators drop below 90%, an alarm would go off, but that would be an extra item, and we're already kind of like at the limit for the amount of items we can fit on the train. Theoretically, I could fit one more item in the car here, but that's already holding 2,000 pieces of concrete, and I'm using 2 arms to load the concrete just so it goes quicker. I kind of explained last time that if you have more than one arm, or you have an arm loading more than one item, it's possible for it to get stuck because I have a set number of slots for each item to go in, so it can grab like 12. Well, they're stack inserters, so it can grab 12 things at once, and if there's only room for 10, it's stuck holding the 2 and will never get to load that other item. So it's really advisable to only be loading one item per arm when loading a cargo train that has mixed content per car. Yeah, so I guess that about wraps it up. I just wanted to explain my idea. I'm gonna have some work to do setting up a train stack or some train stations over here. I'll show that off and maybe do a few stations next time, and then maybe start the beginnings of a massive main belt. But yeah, that's all I have for now. I just wanted basically to show you what I've been working on, what I'm setting up to do, what I'm planning to do, and get your opinion on how I should run it. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Factorio.